studio. My name is Ed Breen, and each week we try to bring you conversation with an artist, performer, person who is not on stage, persons who are on stage, and get some insight into why they're doing what they're doing and what they hope for in the Marion and Grant County area. Today we went for the high price talent. We have with us Greg Fiebig, who is the creator, the creator of Hoosier Shakes, among other things. Person who gave birth to this idea of these interviews. Greg, tell
my wife that I gave birth to something. That'll be an interesting conversation.
Well, it's anatomically impossible, but that's all right.
I get the metaphor, though.
Talk about Hoosier Shakes. It's a bad year for all performing arts.
It really is. Performing arts is, I don't know, we call it just the broad base of it. It includes music, dance, theater. It got hit hard with COVID. And there are companies that raise money and have ticket prices to generate revenue. And for a long time, Broadway is even still shut down right now. But there are some regional theaters and other smaller theaters coming back with 50% capacity and some other things to take into account protocols we need to for COVID.
50% capacity, social distancing, that allows the performers to do what they do, but is it paying the bills?
I would say, we're going to do a show in November this year. It's our Christmas benefit show. Typically we would do 2 performances. This year we're doing 4 or 5 performances to kind of compensate for the smaller venue, if you will. We're in the same location, but it's 50% capacity.
This would have been 4th year?
This would have been our 5th summer.
5th summer.
The completion of our 4th year.
Yeah.
We were scheduled to do Hamlet and Love's Labor's Lost, and we could not do those. We made a decision as a company back in middle of April, and just because of all the protocols that had to be in place, it seemed like a high-risk choice. And so the board wisely chose to sit this one out. We did, however, keep the cast together and rehearsed with them via Zoom, and then they did a read-through performance of both of the shows.
Oh, wow.
We have those archived. We're not quite sure yet when and if those will be released to the public, because it just doesn't capture who we are. Can't do that on a Zoom call.
Well, can you do Hamlet next summer? That's
yes.
One we want to see.
We put together protocols for this season, and in hindsight, having talked with our board, we think we could have managed it this year. So we think we have the protocols in place to be able to do it again next year.
Everything is outdoors, so you could do the social distancing.
Yep. The issues for us in terms of social distancing are actors in rehearsals. If you can imagine doing Romeo and Juliet, the balcony scene, being 6 feet apart, and pressing their lips together, it just doesn't necessarily work. So we're looking at things like face shields. We actually, for this summer, we were going to make face masks like this that were white for our comedy and black for our tragedy, and so Hamlet would have been on the black mask, Love's Labor's Lost would have been on the other one, to kind of help distinguish. We can still do what we do with our costumes, staging, music, everything.
For people not familiar with Hoosier Shakes, give us the Reader's Digest version of the beginning.
The idea of Hoosier Shakes really kind of has 3 pieces to it. One of them is I've been in higher education for a long time, in particular Christian higher education. And I was a theater professor and a technical director of the theater. And I'd have these students who had come to college in Marion, Indiana, or before Bolivar, Missouri. And it's like, how are they going to get to New York from here? You have to have networks and all that sort of thing. So I wanted to start a theater company that combined students with professionals. And so from the very beginning, we cast 12 people every summer, 4 of which have to be students, 4 of which have to be professional actors, and the other 4 can be local folks, professional, student artists, all those kind of things.
And over the years, that group of 4 provided some wonderful dimensions that you would not have gotten out of either of the other groups.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, learning from a textbook and learning from an acting teacher is fine, but here you're learning alongside of a professional actor and a professional director. And if you have a question, we try and develop the kind of community culture where everybody's on the same playing field. So you can have a student ask a question of a professional actor and they give them feedback that's just instantaneously and clicks with them. So it's really on-the-job training for young upcoming professionals. But the other thing we wanted to do was we wanted to provide a theater that was accessible to the audience. And by accessible, we mean making it understandable so that people can watch the show and take the meaning of the show away, but also accessible financially. We live in a county that's not doing well financially. Poverty level, child poverty rates, unemployment levels. And so the very people we want to bring to a show, they couldn't afford to come if we charged 50 cents. So we do it for free, which means I spend most of the year trying to raise money from individual donors and corporate sponsors and local companies that want to be a part of that, and then also from grants from local foundations and also state and national foundations. So we are able to do it for free. If you come to a show, you can make a donation.
You pass that.
Yeah, but
there's so many
there's no
things about it that
expectation.
are wonderful. I mean, the intimacy of the small audience, the outdoor atmosphere, and they have all been outdoors.
Yes.
You were in on the grounds of the YMCA. You were, help me, where else have you been? Fifth Street Commons.
Fifth Street Commons, 3rd Street Courtyard. We've been out at Monterey Park now a couple of years. We've been to Playacres Park in Fairmount, and Wabash, the Charlie Creek Gardens.
At Honeywell House.
Yeah. And that's great. So we do like being outdoors. We also like, every show we do, with the exception of our benefit show around Christmas time, it's all Shakespeare. And it's kind of funny because people have this, aversion to Shakespeare. It's like the King James Bible. You have to treat it with kid gloves. We don't treat Shakespeare with kid gloves. It is animated. It's in your face. It's the original language. But we're performing in a way that Shakespeare's company would have done it. It's called original practices. We don't have a set. We have a backdrop, staging house. We use costumes. We did Pericles our first year. We had 12 actors and 54 roles, and so there was a lot of costume changes going on. And
you try to do voice changes too when you do that?
Some of the actors will do that. Love's Labor's Lost this summer on the video recording is just brilliant because there's some Spanish people, so you get a little Spanish dialect and a little British dialect and this kind of thing from the interplay of the characters. We also introduce contemporary music. So before we start a show, there will be a handful of songs that kind of set the theme and the mood for the evening. Then we go right into the show. Then we do a few songs at the intermission that kind of get us back into the mood and into the second act of the show. And then we do a chaser song at the very end that kind of takes it away. Much Ado About Nothing, which we did 3 summers ago. Getting into it was The Boys Are Back in Town. And if you know anything about Much Ado About Nothing, it's the guys are back from battle, right. And it fit perfectly and just led right into the first lines of the play.
And was a delightful evening.
It was. The chaser music for that one is Beatrice and Benedict can't stand one another, but then they somehow, because of everybody convincing them they like one another and each other's likable, they fall in love. but they still bicker like you would not believe. And so they're fighting at the end of the play.
No
and
spoilers here.
I'm giving you the spoiler. We walked off to walk the moons, shut up and dance. You know, quit the bickering, quit the arguing. Should be a party, and it was great.
Is there Shakespeare that you don't like? Are there plays that you do not want to stage?
Well, yes, but we do them anyway. If my son listens to this at any point, or some of my former students, I hate Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
I've seen it done well 2 or 3 times, and I was suspicious about our production. But it worked. And one of the reasons I don't like A Midsummer Night's Dream is, to me, it has 3 endings. You get to a point where something happens and it's like, oh yeah, it's over, time to go. But no, there's more. It's like one of those $19.99 commercial. And so we do another little bit, and then you think, yes, now it's finally over. But wait, there's more. There's 3 different endings, because there's a play within a play, and then there's a play within that play, and then there's the play itself. And so we had Marion alum direct that play, Kendra Emmett Goldwasser, and she did a really nice job with it. And some of the characters were great.
About where some of the folks have gone that were there in the first year, that have gone on professionally or to other things.
Yeah, most of our student people have gone on to work in the business, not only as actors, but we have two of our company members from the first year. One was an actor and one was a stage manager, both working in universities doing technical theater in those locations. One of our actors that we brought in was a lesser known professional, but he left for New York when our season closed, and within 2 weeks, this is unheard of, within 2 weeks he was cast in New York to be on the Broadway tour of Beautiful, which is the musical about Carole King. And it's one of those, where'd this come from kind of stories. Usually people go there and wait for years, but he wasn't there 14 days and was cast in that. One of our company members trained at the American Shakespeare Center, worked with us for a summer, and then got a contract to go back to the American Shakespeare Center, to Blackfriars Theater in Stanton, Virginia, and work as a professional artist then. Some of our directors have gone on to direct others. Some of our directors have hired actors that have been in our company to go to their theater and work for them as well. So there are a lot of good things going on.
Hoosier Shakes of 2021.
Oh,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And I will tell you this, you mentioned outdoors. One of the things I hate about outdoors is something called cicadas and trains and trucks and motorcycles, just the noise.
Environment.
It is, the ambiance. But because of that and the way we've been doing our sound, we capture everything. Well, because we weren't spending money on a production this year, we decided to invest in some equipment. So we bought equipment. From now on, every one of our actors will be wearing their own headset mic.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get this up close and personal, kind of like we're getting with the lapel mics. And that'll get rid of some of the ambiance. We're still going to record a little bit of the ambiance, but we can tone it down. And then I had a gentleman 2 years ago ask about hearing assistants for our audience. And that was an expensive thing that we looked into, but I had lots more time to do research this summer. So we bought a package that allows us to transmit our sound via FM transmitter.
Okay.
And we have FM receivers. You can clip it onto your belt, lanyard over your head, and it comes with a plug-in 1/8-inch headphone. And we have 10 of those. So now folks who've had a hard time hearing, they'll be able to hear a clearer signal, and they'll also be able to hear it in their ears via radio.
Hoosier Shakes has not gone away. It's on hiatus.
We are.
And we'll be back. Above all, it is fun.
Yes. Come see the fall production of the Christmas one, which is 12 Dates of Christmas. That's all I'll tell you about it. It'll be at the Sender Wellness Center the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Greg Feebig, thank you.
Thank you.
Tune in again. We'll be back next week, and we want to say a thanks to Starbucks for their hospitality today.